So, Mr. Chancellor, the leadership of the University of Bloemfontein, leadership of National Research Foundation, DST, all colleagues from South Africa, IIASA, and the students, this is my great pleasure to speak to you on the occasion of the opening of the second edition of the South African Young Scientist Program, organized jointly between IIASA and South African leadership in the IIASA network. When I came last year, I could be with you in person. I remember very well the day in Bloemfontein. It was raining, rain pouring down. We were waiting for arrival of Minister Hanekamp and hoping that this venture, which is called South African YSSP, would become a success. Because at that time it was an experiment. It was something new. It was something IIASA have never done before. And I'm happy to report to you today, a year later, that not only the first edition was a big success, but that I'm convinced that the second edition, which you are part of, I will be part of, will be even bigger success. But before I talk to that, let me go back a little bit to IIASA again. As you know, the International Institute for Applied System Analysis, shortly IIASA, is a unique institution which was put up by visionaries, people who had a great vision. It was almost 50 years ago, actually today, 22nd November, it is 50 years ago, where President Kennedy was assassinated. And after him, Lyndon Johnson took the office. And Lyndon Johnson got re-elected. And it was in the time when the United States and Soviet Union were facing a big global crisis. Cold War was mounting. The world was divided by many of the political and economical issues and problems. And it was a visionary, Lyndon Johnson, President of the United States, who made a call to Moscow, to the leadership of the Soviet Union, with an idea: why don't we start to talk to each other on the science grounds? Why don't we start to build a bridge between us by inviting the best scientists from both worlds to work together on the problems which, despite of the political divide, we both find very important for our future. And that call was met with a great enthusiasm of the leadership of the former Soviet Union, and the Prime Minister of Soviet Union at that time, Kosygin, was charged with negotiation with the United States about IIASA. The negotiations took 4 years, and on the October 4th, 1972, the IIASA Charter was signed at the Royal Society in London by 12 founding countries. It was the United States, Soviet Union, Japan, and the remaining 9 came from half from the former Eastern world, Eastern Europe and Western Europe. And IIASA was founded as an institute which was supposed to use the best science from all over the world to help the future development of the world. And it played its role very effectively. Between 1972 and 1982, it was the first very successful phase where many of the issues which are currently being discussed at any of the fora when we talk about sustainable development, environmental consequences, economic transitions were addressed. And when the divide called Berlin Wall was not anymore divide, when it was time of releasing the Cold War, 1990, 1989, the question came, is IIASA still needed? Is IIASA still needed in its position of a bridge builder between science camps of both worlds? And at that time, it became clear that there are still many divides around the world which needs to be bridged over. And it was decided to build a new IIASA, second phase IIASA, which is global, trying to unify, connect between North and South and East and West, which is global in the intellectual effort, but global in the geopolitical discussions too. And I'm extremely pleased to be here again, to talk to you again, at a occasion of having one of the very important new members of IIASA family, South African science and political family, in this new mission of unifying the world by science between North and South and East and West. South Africa, together with Brazil and China and India and many other countries, joined IIASA after 1990. South Africa joined IIASA actually only in this century. But South Africa and South African community is a country which is contributing to IIASA mission in an exceptional way. Not only by connecting to the leading scientists and providing leading scientists to the IIASA network. For example, last IIASA Council decided to appoint Professor Maurice Scholes to be a new chair of the Science Advisory Council of IIASA, but also by coming forward with this revolutionary idea about organizing a specific type of training called Young Scientist Program, not only at IIASA, but also at the spot, so to speak, at the location. It was an idea which came a couple of years ago by Gansen Pillay and people around Gansen Pillay, the current member of the IIASA Council from South Africa, who came to the IIASA Council and said, why don't we try to do it also with us, at our homes, not only at the IIASA Council. And the idea was initially met with skepticism, because it would mean a lot of the complications. It could diverge the IIASA resources. It can diverge the focus on IIASA quality at that time. And we have been working very closely trying to overcome all these potential dangers, potential risks in South African YSSP program. And we are here again today to celebrate opening of the second generation. What is special on the Young Scientist Summer Program of IIASA? It started in 1976, so it is already old program. At present, there are close to 2,000 alumni around the world, in many of the countries of this world, who did the Young Scientist Summer Program. It is special because it is not a training. It is not a summer school. It is not a place where students come and listen to the lectures and being taught what to do and going back and having a nice time in the evening. It is a research training. You become a student of the Young Scientist Summer Program of IIASA after heavy selection. You have to prepare your research project. Your research project should be interesting and relevant for the IIASA research mission. You got to be accepted by IIASA programs. And when you come, yes, you will be received in a fantastic environment of an old castle, Habsburg monarchy, probably being met by fantastic weather in Austria during summer, but it is a hard work, which is usually ending with a paper which usually is a paper in a chapter in the thesis, but also a paper which is supposed to be published with a IIASA leading scientist in the leading journals around the world. Many, if not all, of the alumni of the YSSP stick to IIASA network after they finalize their summer program. And this research collaboration, which is at the heart of the summer training, goes on. It goes on in different forms, postdocs, collaborative networks, joint research projects. Now this is exactly the same modus operandi we see now at the heart of the South African summer program. So-called research triplets concept is leading us in this fantastic endeavor here. Research triplets means a combination of the research interest, leading researchers from South African research landscape on one hand, and the IIASA researchers on the other hand, together with the students, or sometimes two, to actually do a very focused research training and research in the subject together. You would understand this model is something which is almost guaranteeing the future, because such a research collaboration, if successful, will remain. So what we are witnessing here in South African YSSP is the building of a global research network between the IIASA so-called in-house scientists and the South African leading research community. Why global? Because the students are coming from all over the world. The students in the second edition of the South African YSSP are not only South African students. They are coming from both North and South and East and West. They are supported on their travel and on coming here by many of the IIASA member countries. This is a collaboration in the true IIASA sense between the leadership again of the South African member IIASA organization and many of the other IIASA member countries and IIASA itself. I will be in a position to judge myself how the success of the second edition of YSSP South Africa will look like, because I will be coming to listen to your projects, to results about your projects by the end of your endeavor, end of February. But I'm sure that the success is already there by simple fact that you are here, by simple fact that we are celebrating the opening of this second generation, by simple fact that we have this enthusiasm in the room, enthusiasm in the preparation, enthusiasm in getting for this second generation of this fantastic endeavor again. I'm also pleased to report to you that this model, which we are now doing, is a pioneering efforts in other parts of the world. I will be traveling tonight to Brazil to meet high-level officials, governmental officials of yet another new IIASA country, Brazil. And Brazilian government, Brazilian Minister of Science already assured me that he is interested to help and to fund a South American YSSP. So who knows, maybe this is the second generation to follow next year. I will be traveling to China in January, talk to the president of the Tsinghua University and the president of the National Science Foundation of China about their interest to host the YSSP-like construct in China, maybe in 2016. So you see, what we have done together, what we have started, will have follow-ups around the world. It is a global mission, and I would like to thank you for that. Thank you for helping IIASA, being our partner. Thank you for showing the way to the world how to do a new generation of the training, research training, in a way which is interactive, which is hands-on, and which is guaranteeing follow-up. My special thanks goes to, again, Kansen Pillai. I think without his visionary and his persistence, we will not be here. But also to Aldo and to all friends at the Bloemfontein University. I think we are friends meantime for putting this into its place and taking leadership in this. And I'll be looking for coming here in 2.5 months' time, 3 months' time, to listen to the final results. Thank you very much and enjoy the coming 3 months.